Greetings fellow scholars. Today we delve into the momentous event that occurred on this day 1,000 years ago. On July 16, 1054, Christianity split into two major branches, Roman Catholicism in the West and Eastern Orthodoxy in the East. This historic event, now known as the Great Schism, was the culmination of centuries-long tensions between the two halves of the Christian world. But why did this happen? What were the causes of this great divide? Well, it's not just one single thing, but rather a complex web of factors that had been developing for quite some time. In 1054, Pope Leo IX sent a delegation of 3 cardinals, including Humbert, to Constantinople to try to persuade the Eastern Church to recognize papal supremacy. But the mission quickly turned sour. The delegation was received coldly by Emperor Constantine Monomachus, who was himself excommunicated from the church due to his marriage to his cousin. It led to centuries of division, conflict, and mutual suspicion between the two branches of Christianity. Efforts at reconciliation were made over the centuries, but unfortunately, they were unsuccessful. The breach was too wide and the wounds too deep. It profoundly affected the course of European history and the religious landscape of the world. It led to the emergence of distinct Western and Eastern Christian cultures, each with its own traditions, customs, and beliefs. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And if you have any suggestions for topics you'd like to see covered in the future, please leave them in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions. After all, knowledge is power, and together, we are powerful beyond measure. When the cardinals tried to deliver their message, they were rebuffed by Patriarch Michael Cerularius. May it serve as a reminder for us to strive for greater cooperation and peace in our world today. Both the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church continued to grow and develop in their own unique ways. They each contributed immensely to art, architecture, theology, and spirituality. Think of the magnificent cathedrals of Europe, the rich liturgical traditions, and the countless saints and scholars who adorned both churches throughout history. Things reached a boiling point when Cardinal Humbert, during the Divine Liturgy, placed a papal bull of excommunication on the altar, directly targeting Patriarch Cerularius. It's derived from the ancient Greek word schisma, meaning a split or a rupture. However, some people prefer to use the term the Great Divorce instead, which I think is quite fitting considering the nature of the event. Talk about a hostile takeover. One major bone of contention was the increasing tension over papal authority. Neither side realized at the time that they had just taken an irreversible step that would have profound consequences for the future of Christianity. So that's what happened on this day 1,000 years ago. The Eastern Church was predominantly Greek-speaking, with a rich liturgical tradition rooted in the Byzantine Empire's cultural heritage. The West, on the other hand, was increasingly using Latin and had different theological and devotional practices. These cultural differences only served to deepen the existing tensions and made finding common ground even more challenging. As the Bishop of Rome, the Pope was considered the successor to St. Peter. But the Eastern Church rejected the Pope's claim to universal jurisdiction, asserting instead the authority of the Patriarch of Constantinople. See, the Western Church, centered in Rome, had been gradually extending its influence over the course of the 9th and 10th centuries. Thanks in part to the efforts of missionaries like St. Boniface and the establishment of the Papal States. This growing power of the papacy was seen with suspicion by the Eastern Church, which valued its independence and feared Western encroachment. Another point of contention was the so-called Filioque clause, which was related to the Trinity. Now, get ready for a deep dive into theology here. The issue revolved around the wording used to describe the procession of the Holy Spirit. The Western Church asserted that the Spirit proceeded from both the Father and the Son, while the Eastern Church maintained that the Spirit proceeded from the Father alone. This might sound like a minor theological quibble, but it actually had significant implications for understanding the relationship between the 3 persons of the Trinity, and it became a major point of contention in the broader theological debate between the two churches. But it wasn't just about theology and power. There was also a significant cultural divide between the two halves of Christendom. So the stage was set for a dramatic showdown. In response, the Patriarch took the unprecedented step of excommunicating Humbert and his 2 fellow bishops, sealing the divide between the two churches. The 1054 schism marked a tragic turning point, ending the unity that had existed among Christians since the death of Christ. Despite the pain and suffering caused by this division, it's important to remember that the story doesn't end in 1054. And I should mention that the term schism itself carries a negative connotation. It's often implying a break or split within a group or organization. In any case, the significance of this event in history cannot be overstated. So as we reflect on the Great Schism, let us remember the importance of unity, the dangers of division, and the need for dialogue and understanding among different Christian traditions. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time.